weeks we learned about the data analysis already, right? And now we will focus on the step of coding and creating a code book. And tomorrow we will pay attention to the how we use software. I mean, to help us do analyze do qualitative data analysis. Okay, and I think you already have known some of software already, right? In Vivo, MaxQDA, and also the one free software that Ajahn Somsak sent us through the line. Okay, yeah. So you can consider which one. Which software would you like to use for your project or for your thesis? Okay, and some are free, some are commercial. So it means that you, if you consider that you don't have much data, you can do it manually. Okay, but if you collect a lot of data and you need some help, I'm saying it's a help because it could not do data analysis automatically for you. You still have a role to do it. Okay, but they facilitate gathering all data into one place. Your data set, your analytic memo on, and also they help us. The software will help us to visualize the pattern. Your course categories and the patterns of your data in here. Yes, but today I will focus on coding and a code book. Okay, we already mentioned about the coding before and a code book before, right? And yeah, before starting, I would like to ask you, have you ever do coding before? Coding, coding. Do you?
I don't know if you can consider that as coding, but when I used the what do you call this, the MaxQDA, we have we only run the titles because basically we did systematic review and we run only the keywords used by the titles. Keywords in the titles of the research that we have gathered for, like, it consists of 2 decades of titles produced. Yeah, so I don't know if you can consider that as coding, but in the end we are able to produce a data that says that the usual topic that is being studied by the masters is this topic, so you should already avoid those topics because there's too many of it now, stuff like that.
So I'm not sure. I would like to know more, like you mean that you use MaxQDA to do like a word frequency, right?
Yes, it's the frequency count only, so basically it's not coding.
So yeah, so in this case, I would like to say maybe not coding, right?
I just realized it's the frequency count of the keyword that we counted, not that.
But that way also help us. Also help the researcher know. Sorry, my network.
Yeah, you're clear, Ajahn. We can hear you.
Okay. But what frequency also help us to understand the main topic or the frequent, I mean the often used
Mm,
in that literature or in that thesis, right? I mean,
mm, yeah, because yes, because maybe we will use the coding if we included the abstract
uh-huh.
of the each
Ah,
literature, because I mean we gathered
but not,
one
but
nine
you,
hundred
but
nine
you
hundred
didn't
literatures. Sorry.
yes, but you didn't assign any terms of words for
Um
the chunk of
mm,
text.
no, I
Oh,
believe no, because we used what the result of the word frequency.
yeah, okay. So it's just showing you that that kind of thesis is conducted by the students. I mean the topic, the mostly done topic, right? By
Mm,
using by just checking the frequency of words that happen
yes,
in the title and in an abstract. Mhm.
yes, yeah, but
Okay,
we did not
sorry.
include the abstract.
I think the network is not good today. Still sorry.
Mm,
Sorry.
อาจารย์กอล์ฟ I think for I mean experience from Vince I think Vince maybe we can call content analysis or text analysis right because you use MaxQDA to count or find out the frequencies of keywords right actually they do just like อาจารย์นายา says document analysis especially for academic articles or research journals, some kinds of
mm,
textbooks, because
Mm.
I mean in terms academically, the more we use this word, it means keywords, right? It's very important. But for
mm,
Ajahn Gop, I think sometimes just like if I want to say I'm poor, but I'm say, oh, I have no money. I'm so hungry now. I have no, I don't have breakfast. I don't have you know a home or house to stay. That I mean I'm poor. I think sometimes it's like a not exactly we. I think Ajahn Gop, I mean in coding sometimes we have to group the words together, right? I think in terms of, I mean, in terms of the interviews or what our interviewees say to us. Sometimes I think not the
Yeah.
documents, right?
mm,
So I think the way that Wins do is like a text mining to see that how the keyword. I mean that might represent some topic. Yeah, and you also use the software to do it, right? But I mean the coding here, I think they went to the human doing. I mean, the researcher has to read the data and try to interpret and answer and assign some word or terms or phrase to represent the content of uh, that segment of text. Okay.
mm, yeah.
And Vincent and Pupik, did you do coding before, right?
Yes, I think in my master thesis, I have to code the transcription in the data analysis process.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like because I didn't have a sorry, I forgot
Pre-assigned.
yes, sorry. So it's kind of like in my thesis I didn't use the pre-design. Yeah. So I when I read the transcription, so I have to rely on my research objective. So kind of like okay, this conversation is represent, for example, the way that they manage picture, kind of like that. So I did. It's kind of like the way that we create the subject heading in the library settings. We have to understand, and then we trying to translate it from the concept that we think it associated into the words. So it will be the code that we use. The code will be like, it's not only limited to the word, it maybe the phrase of maybe the sentence, I don't know, but it depends on the researcher.
Thank you very much, Pupik. You highlight the important things when you mentioned that you use research questions to help you to do coding, right? Yes. I mean, when you already collect the data and you read the data, you should not forget about your research question. What are you going to do now for your research? And what are you going to, investigate, right? You are trying to find the answer from the data, right? So that is very important. You have to interact with the text by question them. You read, but you have to when you're reading the text, you have to question the text. That what is that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that the advantage or is a disadvantage or something like that? Or how this data will answer some aspect of your research questions? Okay, yeah, that will guide us. Okay, but in public case, you said that you didn't have a pre-designed code before, right? So you used research questions to form you, to make you in the track, right? But in some case, in some research project, the researcher already have a list of codes before, right? So when you do coding, it's maybe easier because you already have a basket, a folder already. You just read the text and think about the text and try to compare and contrast between that chunk of text and the basket that you already have, and you just put it into the match them with the basket. Okay, yeah, all right. Wow, okay, finished already. Yeah. Okay, how's about Vincent? Thank you, Pupik.
In my case, I think it is not really a formal coding through a research, but I recall that in the process of requirements gathering, normally we conduct interview, and we have this series of questions that um, that contains the requirements that we need to get from, for example, like in the 8 HR directors, no. So, but before that, we did not really do some coding or what we did was, upon interview, we just combined manually the responses of the 8 HR directors, maybe because they're just 8, no, less than 10, it's more manageable. So then from there we try to group the significant responses among um, the HR people.
Yeah, and I
So
guess that
I think somehow that I don't know if we've already did I've already did a coding part on that process. Yeah.
But I guess that you have a structure interview, right? I mean, you may have 5 questions for each respondent, and then when you get the data from them, you may like how to say, you divide, I mean, put each answer into the same box, and then you read, I mean, divide the answer A from respondent A to get with the other respondent together, and
Yes.
then you will receive a list of answer of each for each question, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, but it's, as you said, that it's manageable because it's only 8 people, right? And the question or the interview, I guess, is structure one, so it's easier to do, right?
It's more
Okay,
controlled. Yeah.
good. Yes. All right. So wow. So from your discussion, I would like to say that you can see that you can perceive that we have I mean, the data that we receive from the field are different. One is one-to-one interview, one or focus group, or from the text or from the documents, right? So it's when you do the qualitative data analysis, the data that you waiting for you are to analyze them are in different form. But as I'm going to say that mostly you have to transfer them into text in order to make them how to say, to easier for us to analyze. Okay, but sorry, do you see my slide?
Yes, Ajahn.
The display one or the speaker note?
Yes, speaker note.
Okay. Okay, so let's start here. From the field, your data, your research data might be like a transcript, interview transcript, or maybe some picture, some drawings, some photos that you received from the participant. Okay, but as we have learned before, the photos may not be the, how to say, may not be the only one methods that help us get the answer. They might mix with another approach. For example, we may ask the participant to send us some photos, and then we have a follow-up interview, right, to gather more their opinion, their perspectives. Okay, so when for each qualitative data, for qualitative research project, you might receive a lot of data in various formats, and then it's time for you to transcribe them. I mean, transcribe from the audio, from the sound to text, right? And from the picture, right? I mean, from the photos. You may have the short interview later on, right? But also you can put, how to say, you can analyze the photos or image too. You can assign some words or terms into the image, okay? So today we will learn 3 things which are really important in this stage of data analysis. First one is codebook and coding. I think all of you already know about this, but I will like just brief up about this. Okay, what is code? Okay, code is an issue, topic, or opinion. Okay, it's a term, it's a word, or it could be a phrase, right? To showing us some topics, some issues, the opinion. Okay, and code is identified through reading the text or data. Okay, you read the text, read and reread the text, and then you will assign a label for a segment of text that terms or words or phrase is a label. Okay, or it could be called code. Okay, and code, yeah, could be categorized into two main groups. First, deductive course, and the last one, inductive course. The deductive course is come from deductive coding. Inductive course come from inductive coding. Okay, so book pick, in your previous research, what were your code? I mean, what kind of your code?
It is an inductive code.
Yes, because you said that you didn't use you didn't have a set of pre-assigned code before, right? You just let the data tell yourself. I mean, tell the codes by themselves. I mean, from the data, the codes emerge from the data. Okay, but in maybe in your future research, you may consider to do deductive coding, or you got the deductive course. This one, I mean, the deductive course is the pre-assigned course that come from the theory or from the literature. For example, when you do the literature review, you come up with probably the conceptual framework, and you may use your conceptual framework to form your data analysis. So before you starting the data analysis or coding, you have a list of code before. Okay, that's come from researcher or from the literature. All right. Okay. So the picture to visualize. Okay.
อาจารย์ก๊อฟครับ sorry to interrupt you
ค่ะ
I remember yeah maybe few weeks ago Vincent talking about open questions open-ended question in the questionnaire so in the open-ended questions in the survey we can use inductive codes, right? I mean,
yes.
just like authors, right? If you reply authors response, just identify your answer sometime, and we have to group together. I mean, for the survey research, we can use inductive codes, right? I think for open-ended questions.
For open-ended question in survey, I think you can use both inductive and deductive coding. For example, if your open-ended question focus on specific issue, so you have some issue in your mind already, right? For example, challenge. For example, what kind of challenge that you face when you do reference service? For example, you may have some some theory before, right? And you may say, okay, they will have three major challenge. For example, the librarian themselves, right? The resource, and what technology, for example. And then when you have the when you get the data from that, I mean from the open-ended question, you might read and consider which one that, I mean which one of text that you will suit into. Okay, it's yeah, I mean the answer tell that their challenge is focused on the librarians and technology. So you separate their answer and put into that code. But in the same time, if you have the open-ended question and you have like open mind, you don't have a list or set a list of code before. You can do the inductive coding. Just read the answer and just summarize, right? Categorize the answer into issues or into codes.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that, yeah, both they can do that.
Okay. Thank you ครับอาจารย์ครับ
Thank you. Okay. So for deductive codes or coding, you starting with the having a list of code before. Then when you have text, you read the text, release the text, and assign a part of text, right? I mean, label a part of text with pre-assigned code, okay? But for the inductive coding or code, come different way. You starting with text or data, and then you read the data, release the data, and then assign terms or words that represent that issue of the text, the block of text. Okay. All right. So you already know code. Okay. Code is a word. It's an issue. It's a topic. It could be an opinion. And code is a label of to tell you to tell yourself and to tell the other that the data which topic that come from the data. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So next terms is codebook. Okay. Codebook. Even you do the survey, I mean the quantitative research or quantitative data or qualitative data, you still need a code book. When you use SPSS or another software for do quantitative data analysis, you still have a set of, I mean, you have to set a code book as well. And also in the qualitative research, a code book is really is necessary for us to keep us on track, to make, I mean, to help us do coding consistently. Okay, so a code book is a list of codes and the definition or the description. Okay, the description or definition that used in your research. What does it mean? For the word or the code, disciplinary differences. In general, there are so many, there could be many things, like, but for your project, for your particular project, you have to you have to describe what these terms mean, what these terms cover. Okay, that if you could explain or giving the its description in detail, It will help you a lot. Okay, so it's an essential reference for instructing how to recognize a code in the text. Keeping track of changes throughout the project. What does it mean? It means that when you do coding, you already maybe assign a code, and then you found that you might want to edit, change the word or the terms to represent the same concept. So you have to memoing, right? So a code book will help you to keep track of change and help you to understand what should be coded with this label or not. Okay. And also it helps us to maintain the consistency. Okay. So a code book, they have a components. They have components. Which one? I mean the in the bold is the important components. So you have a code, definition or description, and example. That is the core components. But if you can do more, I mean, you can elaborate them to include origin, importance, counter example, reflection. Or from Bernard and Lyon, they say that you might list or note some like inclusion criteria or exclusion criteria, typical exemplars or atypical exemplar, or close but not exemplar. Why? If you make a code book very, very in detail, it helps you a lot when you have a hesitation, right? You are hesitate. Which code are you going to assign to this text, this segment of text, right? So when you see like a manual, a code book is a manual for you, or guidebook, or guide, yeah, or guideline for you, right, to do coding. So if your guideline is very comprehensive, right, it helps you to do coding. Okay. So in manual, I mean, not in manual, I mean, if you don't use any computer software to help you do coding, you need a pen, you have pen, pencil, paper, or you do a paper-based. You should have a card or you list on the books, notebook, right? And keep in your mind that a code book can be changed along the way that you do coding. Okay. But in case that you use the software computer to help you do data coding, you don't need another notebook to note your to note your changes, to note your opinion, to note your reflection at all. Okay, they already be kept in one place. Okay, and you can export your code and code book into from the NVivo or from XQDA into a PDF or to a Word file, and then you can use that to put as an appendix for your thesis. You can use that for later, like to add in your journal article. Okay, but how to develop a code book? From the article, the roles, what role does theory play in the creation of a code book? The articles by Marshall and McCulloch, okay, they talked about that the theory help us a lot when we create a code book. Okay, and a code book, if you have, if you consider to use theory driven coding or data driven coding, this how to say, it will affect the way how you code the data. If you consider to have the pre-assigned code before or deductive coding, you start with creating a code book before doing coding. Okay, but if you decide to do inductive coding, you create a code book along the way with coding at the same time. Okay. So a code book should be clear to read, simple to follow. Why? Maybe you may not do a solo coding. You may have a team, or you may have a researcher assistant to help you doing data coding. So if you have a clear and detailed code book, they will use this code book help to understand and to follow how to do data coding, okay, for you. And yeah, and a code book should be easy to implement. A code book should help us not bring us the challenge. Okay. Right. So yes, please.
I just want to clarify. The development of codebook can be implemented with either you're using deductive or inductive coding, right?
So again, please, pardon.
Okay. Is when you are developing a codebook, is it exclusive only or when you are using deductive coding, or codebook can be used for deductive and inductive coding?
For both.
For both. Okay.
Yes, but it's different. I mean, if you do the deductive coding, it means that you will have, you will start with creating code book before, right?
Okay. So basically, when you do deductive, you already have the code book. But
Yes.
when you are doing the inductive, you are coding at the same time you are creating your code book.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. Yes, but I think last week or some week ago, Vince also asked, or maybe someone asked me as well, that if you already decided to use theory-driven coding or deductive coding, could we have some kind like immerse code later, right?
Yeah,
So,
I remembered I asked that.
yes, it's okay, it's all right. Even you say that you do deductive coding, you already have a code book before, right? But you can edit or revise a code book. You can add a new image code. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank
And
you.
Top, I got another question.
ค่ะ
Especially if we make a decision to use inductive code sometimes. I'm wondering when we develop our research proposal,
research proposal.
yeah, or even apply for research ethics, and you just and we can't explain to thesis committee or even ethics committees that what kind or how many codes we have to use in our future projects sometimes. I'm just wondering for qualitative researchers how they can cope with that situation, you know, because sometimes when we develop qualitative research proposal or even apply for research ethics, and you know, and the committee's member, they just ask you why you didn't clarify or, you know, pre-assign some kind of codes, because we don't know, we don't know yet about you know, about the data we got in the future sometimes, and how the researcher can cope with that questions, or you know, or how to deal with the you know, the others questions, something like that.
I think you can explain them your choice. Probably you may refer to the research methodology that you are using, that you might say that, yeah, we are aware of, or we also do the literature review or review of literature, but we will not let the theory affect much about the data. So I think, yeah, I mean, we have to justify by giving I mean, giving them the explanation. Yeah, but not just say that I like it. No. But yeah, but we'll quote, how to say, like cite some theories, or cite some like I mean, theory on the research methodologies, or the like Glaser and Strauss say that I mean, the laws of literature or theory on data analysis.
So this means when we develop qualitative research proposal, sometimes we have to focus on explaining the process of data analysis rather than, you know, the exact code book, right?
Yes, yes.
You.
Even when you, I mean, the student do the research proposal, or you say that you will, I mean, your research design is blah blah blah, you still need to give us some reasons why you use survey, why you use focus scope, some, yeah, it's I mean yeah, it's still important for us to justify our choice.
Because you know why I asked Ajahn Top like that is because my master student, she used survey research, right? And the research ethics committee, they just, you know, asked her to show the questionnaire in advance, you know, even, yeah, it's quite a predefined questions, right, sometimes. But I'm curious to know, in my turn, if I propose to do the qualitative research, how I can defend my research design. So and thank you for Ajahn Kop's answer. So we have to explain the process of qualitative data analysis, right, rather than to show my research tools, right, because we don't know exactly.
No, for applying for the IRB at our university, we still have to send them, I mean, submit them the tools, the
yeah, that's my point. Sometimes, but I'm curious to know for, yeah,
to stamp, I mean, to make a stamp on the instrument. So for me, it's all right to have research instrument, right? But for analysis, I mean, for instrument, how to say, semi-structured interview guide or interview questions, I always has a sentence that like this question will be is flexible or something like that, not the structured one. Yeah.
So show them some examples.
Example? No. you still need to submit an interview questions.
Oh.
But I mean, in the in the research proposal or project proposal, in the section of methods, you still you can give them the explanation that you gather by doing by semi-structured interval, and this is the question, maybe 10 questions, but it maybe changeable. Like this depends on the each respondent.
What concerns Vincent and Pukpik, I mean, when you apply for research ethics, sometimes you have to, finish designing your research instrument already. Yeah,
the one that the version that you are going to use to gather the data.
Yeah.
So it means that if you plan to do pre-test or to do to get checking the validity, reliability from the expert, you have to do it first. Not the first version.
I see.
I mean the revision version.
Yeah.
It take a lot of time. You should spare like 2 months.
why I share this information with Ajahn Gop, because I mean, for my students' case now, it means she has to finish reviewing the literature and designing, I will say, a final draft of survey questions already before she send every document to apply for research ethics. That's very tough one, it's not just you have a proposal exam with your teachers, but it means you have to already to develop and design your research instruments before you go further to collect the data in the field work. Sometimes it's very tough compared with my experience. We still have a chance to revise or anything like that, but for all of you, maybe you have to go straight and then make a decision.
For IRB, I mean, it's suggested you to spare 2 months for them for the IRB to review your applications and documents. But yes, like Ajahn Somsak said, that before handing the documents and application, we have many process. Your instrument have to be ready for use.
It's quite different. I mean, when compared with my previous experience, sometimes you just develop your proposal first, and then just think about your research instruments, right? But at the moment for Vincent and Pukpik, you have to finish all of them before you have an proposal exam, right? Like you said.
And after
just a warning.
And after get the result, not result, they will, I mean, the IRB will ask us again to revise your proposal. So it's not finished. I mean, at our program. Right?
To be honest, Ajahn Gop, I got my for my master student, she spent at least I tell the truth, 3 months. 3 months to after she passed the research proposal exam, and she still spent 3 months before she prepare every documents to apply for ethics research. It's very tough.
Yeah, me too. I'm not ready yet because I mean, because in our case I mean, the instrument should be in Thai.
Mm.
I mean, for Ajahn Somsak student and my student, yeah, should be in Thai, and some they have to translate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the
We
proposal will be in
we
English.
can do things twice, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so for applying the IRB, it means you will have a ready-to-use version of your research instrument. And about the data analysis, the methods about that. When you put into your research proposal, you can just give them the explanation why you use that, why you use this, by citing some reference. Okay. Okay. Developing codes and a code book is an iterative process. So it means that you can doing it here now, and then you can revisit and change and change and revisit and assign and revisit, something like that. So it's changeable. Okay. What is coding? The last term. Coding is the active process of identify data or representing some types of phenomena, probably maybe like issues, topics, concept, belief, some activity or action. Okay, and maybe like a relationship or cultural practice. Okay, so the coding process we have to main activity. First one, you are attempting to categorize the same topics, the same issues into the one category or into the one terms, one label. Okay, and also doing coding is a process to do indexing. It helps you to know that particular concept is located in which part of the text. Okay, and then this means that you can gather the data from the code. How to say? It's like an indexing. Okay, so it's a topical marker of the text to index your entire data set. Okay, so that when you want to read it again, that about the challenges of providing reference service in pandemic crisis, you are participant. What the data from participant that talking about the challenges, you just use that code. I mean, you just search by that code, and then it will come up a list of a block of text that you highlight or you categorize them. Okay, so and then you will read again about the text that have the same meaning, that not the same concept. Okay, all right. For the coding, it's an active process, and coding often starts by being descriptive. Please notice when you do data coding, you will start with doing descriptive coding, right? Or in clouded theory, we will call open coding, or sometimes they call initial coding. It means that you just read the text, read the data, and then you assign a code that describes something. Okay, and then after that, you may need another cycle again to read the text again, and then and at this stage you will assign analytical code. You will think more in-depth and how to say, you will interpret them at this cycle. I mean the second cycle, you will interpret the data more and yeah, will receive analytical code. Okay. So coding is not a precise science. It is primarily an interpretative act. Okay. So from the one segment of text, you probably assign more than one code. Okay. And also it's probably is labeled into different codes because you have different view on the same text. You have different, you or other researcher may have different background, right? Then it's affect on when labeling the segment of text. Okay, different coding methods also will get the different code. So analytic lens is very important for you, for us. Okay, so if, I mean, for example, if I provide you the same text interview transcript and ask all of you to do data coding, right, and create a code book, I don't have a list of pre-assigned code for you. I will ask you to do it by yourself. Let the data, drive your coding. Okay. The result probably have different, the result probably may not be the same things. You have a list of codes as well, or you have a list of code, have a code book, but you may use different terms, different vocabularies to represent that concept. Okay. Why? Because Vincent may have like a different background. I mean, you have different background from Bookpick and from Rinse, right? And also the view that you see, perceived from the data probably are different. Okay. All right, so we will practice with this. It's from this example is from the book written by Sadhana, the coding manual of the coding manual for qualitative researchers. This book I would like to, I mean, it's a very, very, very good one. I recommend for you. And also other publication written by the Sadhana. She or he explained how to code qualitative data. And how it make you understand a lot the process, and he or she easily explain about the coding. Okay. All right, so if I said you are going to use methods in vivo coding to code this segment of text, what do you receive? I mean, what is possible code? What is in vivo coding? Vincent, would you like to guess?
Illegal immigrants.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Now, I'm waiting for the others to guess.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I agree with
Okay.
the illegal immigrant.
All right. And how's about Vince?
Wait, I'm going to I just want to clarify. I'm going to give the code based on the text, or am I going to give my suggested code?
You are going to give a code for this text, this segment of text, but you are using a way called in vivo coding. So what is in vivo coding? In vivo is in you are using the participant terms as a code. So
illegal immigrants.
okay. The key is no place. That's all right. But still the no place come from here. Right. So maybe your code may not have the same as Sadhana code, but maybe represent the main concept of the segment of text. Yes, please.
Okay. I just want to ask, in coding, like for example, in this text, maybe are you, I don't know how to structure it. Wait, do we need to consider the whole context of the problem before we code? Because I think when we had a more wider perspective on the context, maybe we have chosen the no place. But since we are just presented with this chunk, the immediate
Yes.
idea is the illegal immigrants. But I mean, I feel that it affects also on what, I mean, the context of the whole as a whole, you know.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
You are
Is that-
right, Vince. You are right, because you are not. I mean, we the outsider. We don't know what is this research objectives, is research questions, right? And so we don't know the context, right? So yes, you are right. Probably you can perceive or conceptualize this text in different way of the original. I mean, the owners. I mean, the research, the researcher. That's okay. So for yourself, for your research project, you know your research questions, you know your research objectives, you know your research population, and the data that you received, you know them, but you still need to make them meaningful. You are doing sense making, make the text or make the data sensible. Okay, so that is probably, you're right, probably this chunk of text maybe you can add, you can assign elegant immigrant, right? Okay, yes, but in this case I just quoted from the, I mean the answer, no, the example from the book to here, in order to showing that the in vivo coding, you can consider when you read the text, you can consider that, okay, this block of text, what does it mean? What does it cover? And what are you going to give? I mean, the label that you are going to give for this block of text. Okay, but if you use the strategies in vivo, you're trying to find the keyword that participant use and borrow that keyword to be a code. Okay, that is the in vivo coding. Okay, but if the same text, okay, sorry, if this is the same text, but you change the strategy to use a descriptive coding, what could it be? I mean, what What code are you going to give to this one? There is just no place in this country for illegal immigrants. Round them up and send those criminals back to where they came from. Yes, please.
Deporting illegal immigrants.
The first, sorry?
Deporting illegal immigrants.
Okay.
It's
And yeah, how's about the others? Okay, please.
Right.
Descriptive coding, a code that describes the that text.
It's more of racial discrimination.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You still want to guess? Do you want to know the key? Okay, may I?
Just thinking. Sorry.
Okay. Not sure because it's your network is not
I
good.
don't know. Because it's difficult for me because I think about the context, so it's complicated for me to, because it's just only the I'm sorry, but it's just because it's only 2 sentences and but it's difficult for me to guess. I'm just thinking.
Sorry, maybe probably I may not choose. I may not prepare the good one for you guys.
Okay.
Or community acceptance,
Like,
or
yeah, or it's maybe like I don't know, but I just think about it's about immigrants. I mean frankly, it's about immigrants, kind of like if we can think about like the human right, some kind like that. I don't know, from my because the descriptive coding. Yes.
Okay, so one text could be assigned with various code. Okay, in his her book say that this text, when you would like to do the descriptive coding, they will assign immigration issues for this text. Okay.
Jankov, it looks like, in this example, such kind of, ethnographer, they use a broader term, right? And you say this immigration issue is sometimes quite broad.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes when you think about the context, I think it's a kind of racial discrimination, or it's kind of, for me they just mentioned about illegal immigrants equals criminals, right? They treat illegal immigrant as a criminal. Sometimes it's very harsh, very harsh word to do that thing. You just break the law, but you didn't kill someone, right? I think it's very, very, very harsh.
Yeah, I think it's a good example because kind of like I agree with Ajahn Somsak that it's because of the ratio of some the context, so it's difficult for me.
And when Ajahn Gop showing this quote, I think about the ex-president, Donald Trump. I just think about when they have silly foreign policy about the Mexico, and I think this is him.
Yeah. I think the nature of the way to do descriptive coding as well is very broad. When you can when you read the text, you will try to summarize them, conceptualize them, and then you will come up with a descriptor or a term that describes the main idea of that block of text. Compared to the in vivo, you focus, you still read the text, conceptualize the text, but when instead of assigning your own word or terms as a code, you borrow the terms the participants use, terms as a code. Okay. Now, there is another one that is very difficult, the same text, but if you are going to do the values coding is the application of codes onto the qualitative data that reflect the participant values, attitudes, and in this case, they tried use
Xenophobia. Yeah.
Yes, the jargon, right? The difficult words, right? The jargon, the technical terms, something like that to analyze or to give as a code. So it depends. For example, you are information professional. You have some jargons for yourself, and sometimes in your research, you might assign you might use your jargons in your professionals as a code. Okay. Yeah. So in this exercise, I'm trying to say that the same text, but use different strategies, you will come up with various codes. The terms that use for code. Okay. I have another what time? Shall we have a break and we'll come back to do the exercise again?
Yes.
Okay. I just thought check the time. Yeah. Okay. We will meet again 2:30.
Okay.
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 ครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะอาจารย์
Thank you.
See you.
Is there any instances that a single word can be included in different codes?
Single word.
When you already read the transcript, for example, it was an interview, etc., and then and as much as you want to avoid it, there's this phrase or sentence or a word that is included. Considering that you already had that you already have your code book, and upon analyzing and basing it to your code book, it fits on two codes. Yeah. Is there any instances like that, or
the same concept, right? You are going to say that the same chunk of text, the same segment of text can be put into two code?
Yes. Is that possible, or?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, of course. Because some text, the same text, you might conceptualize that is telling about concept A, something like that. And also they represent another concept. So you can assign as the concept B.
Oh, so there's no limit on how many times you can use a chunk of text for a specific code.
No.
as long as it fits the concept, you can use that.
Yes.
Okay, noted.
And yes, you can use that, and also what's it? You might consider the theory, the literature that you read before, and to help you to code, right? But it's all right to have more than one code for the same text.
Is it a taboo, or do you avoid instances like that? I mean, as much as possible, do you intend to one chunk, one code, or
No,
it happens rare?
it can be happen like that, but at the first round of coding, you can assign any code for any segment of text. Okay, but for the second round, you pay more attention, right? And then you may revisit the text again. And also you may revisit the code. For example, the code A, and then they will list all of segment of text that you coded with code A, and then you read it carefully again, read it again very, very carefully, and then you might change your mind that segment of text that you should be reassigned with code C, something like that. You can do that again. So the first round of coding, you will come up probably 100 codes, right? It's the initial code, something like that. And then the second round, you try to make sure whether already good or not, that you assign 2 or 3 or a chunk of text should be represented with this code, or rather than that code, you can change it. Okay.
How many times do you check your codes? I mean, is there a definite limit, or
time is your limitation? Yeah, there's try to say that, okay, you probably have first round to do coding, especially to do the descriptive coding, right? And then the second round you recheck again whether it's suited for that code. It may change or may group. I mean, you can combine what code A and code B together, because probably you find out that they represent the same concept, right? So you come, and then it's the next round to categorize all codes into category. And then you may feel all right with that categories. You try to find out the patterns of your categories that come from the text or the data, and then you use that categories. I mean, you make the relationship amongst the categories and present as a model or theory. Okay, so when you ask me how many times to read and revisit, reassign the code, it's quite difficult for me to tell the exact number, but at least probably you might have 3 rounds to do it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jack.
Okay, for the next example exercise. The first one, I would like you to do the descriptive code or coding for this text. What are potential descriptive codes could be? I noticed the grand majority share login. Okay. I send to the chat. Okay. So what how do you label this text?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Hello, Acharn.
Ah,
Have you shared the? I think I have not yet got the shared file.
can you edit?
No,
No.
I can edit.
No, I already said. No.
wait.
Okay. Mm.
Okay, I can edit already. I can edit now.
Okay.
Thank you.
When you read the text, they have two ways to do coding for the text. First one, you read the paragraph or the probably a few sentences. And sometimes in another methods, you do the line by line coding. So the line one, what do you code? The line two, what is your code? Line three, what is your code? Okay. But here they have a number on it, right? Number one. So the whole this represent with a code. Mm. Yeah. Probably it's quite take time because you don't know the context again, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
totally different when you do exercise that Ajahn Somsak did, asked us to do last time. May I change? For example, this one, Ajahn Somsak, could you remember? No, Ajahn Somsak. Asked, do you remember this activity last week? Yes. You also read the text and conceptualize the text as well and try to say what does it about. Could you remember? And you can do it easier than this exercise because you know the context, because you know the librarian, right? You have like this similar, share some in common, right? So you can give them or assign them some words or some code, okay? But at that time, some of your answer are summary, not a code, okay? Not a term, not a word, not a phrase, but a sentence or a paragraph, okay? here. What? Yeah, for example, in this segment of text, some of you assign the role of librarians in the different sectors, right? Some of you assigned subject librarian, specialist librarian, okay? And some of you assign the pink sentence in pink, but this may not be a code. A code should be very, how to say, it should be concise. So you probably mostly see that a code will represent as a term, a word, a phrase, okay, rather than sentences or paragraph, okay. All right, so let's see. Okay. The descriptive code, you raising a dog at home, okay, securing homes, okay, animal domestication. All right, okay, good. Okay, so move to the next. Here, in vivo code or in vivo coding. You try to conceptualize each sentence by using the terms that they use in the transcript. Okay. The block of text number 1, he cares about me. He has never told me, but he does.
When you are doing in vivo coding, are you going to put it on a quotation mark or not?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes. Okay, good. Okay, so if you are, if this code come from the same person, from the one coder, okay, just see this one. If these codes come from the same coder, could you see the consistency? Is that consistent?
Yes.
No.
I know because
Yes.
I'm thinking about the concept of caring. Sorry. Like the word, literal word. No.
Yeah, they represent the same concept, okay? But they use different terms.
Yeah.
So when you search, when you yeah, I see. Yeah. So when you, because you the code will work as an index as well. So if you assign different word or terms but represent the same concept, it will when you retrieve the text or the data, they will come in different ways. So yeah, here there is no consistency. So that's why we should have a code book. When you see that, okay, if you want to code to categorize this text into one concept, rather than use cast, you have to use he cast. Or rather than using he cast, you use cast. Okay, a code book will help you to work consistently. Okay. Next, process code or coding. Process coding, you will receive the process code. The process coding is mean that you try to see some activities from the text, the actions from the text. So the process code will begin with gerund, the verb ing.
A gerund.
Gerund, yeah.
Okay. It's a verb.
Yes, verb.
Okay.
For example, the number one, what's he going to do?
You're good. So let me clarify, John. In the process coding, you're going to use words which are gerunds,
Yes.
even though the context, the text is either present tense.
Yes, but you focus on the activities. You focus, I mean, you,
Okay.
yeah, you didn't find the concept, I mean, the topic, but you're going to focus on the activity, the action or activity that happened from the text. Instead of assigning a term, a noun, you will use gerund instead. For
But
example, securing something, buying food, seating people, something like that.
But this is not an in vivo, right? Because when you say in
No.
vivo, you cannot change the word.
Yes.
Okay.
Or in vivo, you use the word that they use, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. But from here, you can conceptualize, but instead of giving them the noun, right? The vocabulary, the noun. Yes.
Bye.
Okay. Yes. Okay, very good. How's about the simultaneous coding? From the same text. Yeah. Instead of you assigning a process code for each activity at the same, that area, you can do the simultaneous coding to show that from the activity lining up for lunch, what the simultaneous activity, okay, under lining up for lunch, okay, the same things, okay. All right, good. Okay, move back to the slide. Okay, so you see the display version. Okay, all right. To sum up, okay, probably this one. From the text, from the interview transcript, or from the focus group transcript, or from the fieldwork memo or diaries, you doing coding. From that, you will read and reread the text, and then you will assigning the label of code for the particular segment of text. Okay, and then you will, from at this stage, you may do the first round coding and then check again, reread again, whether it's suitable already or not, that you match that text with this code. And then you probably had on the second round, some codes probably combine together or merge together, because at the first round, you may assign various codes, but for the second round, you put an analytic lens already, you are doing the analytical coding. You may compare and contrast between code A and code B. And finally, maybe you come up with that code A and code B represent the same concept or same topic. Okay, so you merge them together and maybe reassign or relabeled with different names. Okay, and then next step, you're trying to group the same codes into categories. Okay, for example, promotion and knowledge bank is the objectives to having websites, institutional website. So you group these two codes together into one categories. Okay, and you name that objectives. Okay, or for example, for this case, the same chunk of text, but you assign different names or different codes. But then you found out that these two of course could be grouped into one categories. Okay, so this will be category sub administrator, and then this will work as sub categories. Okay, and after that, for example, for about 150 courses, you may have 10 categories. Okay, and then from 10 categories, you consider very carefully and revisit your research questions to revisit to the conceptual frameworks, and then try to make a relationship between categories, between 10 categories. You may find out that category A could be the core categories, and then make a link with other categories, and then that will present as a theory or a model to explain the pattern that you received from the data. Okay. So, for example, in this case, in this diagram, I may analyze the data and add a lot of cost, a number of costs, but finally I received only 4 categories from the data sets from my research data, and from the 4 categories, the category C is the core one, the most important one that can represent or explain your research phenomenon, right? And then you try to make a link with other categories. For example, the category A might affect or influence the category B, and also A and B may influence the category C, and also the category D, another concept, affect, influence, category C, something like that. Okay, so when you present the result, you probably explain each category first, and then propose your theory or model at the finally. Okay. From the book by Sadhana, this diagram also try to present you from the process from code to theory, from the real or from the text to abstract. Okay, from the text, from the words of the participants to the theories that you already interpret, analyze, and interpret the data, okay, through the researcher's lens, okay. And the first cycle coding methods that you practice, actually, I mean the first cycle coding methods, there are many methods, but most of us we use elemental methods here to do coding the first round. Okay, the structural coding it means that you already have a pre-assigned code. Okay, you have a structure already, a list of words, a list of code that you already set before, and then try to match with the text with the code. Okay, the descriptive coding is just that you read the text and conceptualize the text and assign a descriptor that represents the concept. In vival coding, you're trying to find and borrow the word that participants use. They speak, they use, and then you borrow that terms as a code. Okay. Process coding, you focus on the steps, the activities. Okay, so you for the course will begin with the journal. Okay, and initial coding is like you're trying to find the concept at the first round. Okay. All right. For the second cycle coding methods, that you need your analytic skills a lot, and also you need to interpret the data. What does it mean? Okay, from the data. Okay, the meaning behind the sentence, behind the alphabet, behind the text. Okay, you try to interpret them. Okay, and then you can see that they might use the terms focus coding, action coding, theoretical coding. Okay, focus coding is mean that you pay a lot of attention to the text again, to the data, to the code again, and revisit, gently assigned. Okay, and interpret. Okay, but also sometimes, I mean, in some research methodology, they use theoretical coding, try to code to match the to how to say to refer to the theory. Okay, at this round. After you are finished coding, after you finish coding, you received the for writing up the result. Okay, and during coding and after coding, you might get some fear. Have I got it right? Any new things? Should I finish now, or should I do it again? I mean, do the coding again, grouping, categorizing again or not? Any new thing, and what next? Okay, so that is very is how to say, normally happen to us. Okay, but when it should finish, sometimes the data will tell yourself. I mean, when you get deep to the data, get deep when you code the data, you will feel that, all right, it's already done. And after that, you recheck with your research questions, with your research objective again. And probably it's time to let the theory or the literature to confirm your answer. Okay. And next, okay, after coding, grouping, and make a relationship of categories, got the theories. The categories of categories, okay, sometimes it's structure. I mean, when you represent the theory, I mean, not theory here, after you receive the final version of categories, you want to present the patterns, right? There are two ways. First, the structure one, which category are the superordinate and subordinate, okay? Or you can use like a present as present as a taxonomy, hierarchy, or overlap. And another way to present the categories or present theories or models, you may consider as a process. Make the category present as a process. The sequential order, concurrency, domino effects on network. So finally, for example, here from the categories, I chose to present as a process because it may suit my research objectives. Okay. All right. So I will link or make a relationship between categories as a process. Okay. Then the next issue that you need to be take into your mind when you do coding, you do it alone, I mean not alone, by yourself, right? Or you have a team, or you have another coder to help you to recheck, to make it reliability or validity, right? Okay, what they have a pro and con of having doing it alone by individually or by team. Okay. So, I forgot to talking about the memoing. When you do coding, no matter at the first round or second round or the final round of coding, you need to do memoing, recording your your reflection, your changes that happen during the coding. Okay, that will help you forward for writing up the thesis. No, writing up the result. Okay, because it will record or document your thought, your reflection, why you change from this concept to another concept, why this concept become important from the data. Okay, so doing the research is kind of like you are do as an investigator. You're trying to discover something. You have aim on your already like a research question already. When you receive the data, you make a code. A code will work as clues to help you to get the answers. A code book will work as your guide. Okay, and coding is the active process and also demand a lot of analytical thinking. Okay, then don't forget about the memoing. Okay, so in the paper-based workplace, in the paper-based workplace, you may put have many paper or documents and may be organized in different places or different folders. Okay, so it's really hard to um, to gather and work again. And also it's easier to get lost. Okay, but nowadays you can use the computer software to help you to gather code or data set or code and your code book and your memoing together at one place. So it will help to facilitate the process, the data analysis. Okay, so that's all. Do you have any questions?
And how I have question for the sources of the codes for the code book. It would be I understand that we have to create or design or write the code according to our research question or the literature review, right? Yes, and my question is how about borrowing the term from thesaurus or any control language sources? Is it better or we just use our own word or the word that we understand according to the scientific communities?
That's also funny. But for me, I think it's well, I mean, if you're using the control vocabularies, well, maybe good, but also maybe it's the limitation as well. Yeah, and because you have to know the how say the subject heading list, right? I mean, you have to know which one you are going to use, LC, subject heading, or mesh, right? Or thesaurus, or something like that.
Yeah, for example, like according to the exercise, I think one of us used the animal, the
Domestication.
Domestication. I
Yes.
think this is the word from the control language. I think I found this word on the subject heading, right? I'm not sure, but yeah, but apart from this word, I found raising the dog in the house or any like maybe a simple than this one. But in my opinion, I like the word animal domestication, right? I like this one, but actually it sound like I don't know that which one we should use in the practical.
เหมือนI think อาจารย์สมศักดิ์ have mentioned this before, right? Like you are going to use the academic ones, academic terms.
Yeah.
Or
we just do the simple one that.
Yes.
I think it's quite different from what อาจารย์Vachiraphon explained to us today. I think we start to code some kinds of interview data based on, I will say, I got knowledge now, in vivo coding, right? Because you start from the word that participant they say, I will say that, and you try to contextualize them by using, like Pupik said, that by using some kind of academic words, something like that. But I would say it depends on, to be honest, I prefer the way that Pupik used. Me too. I think we start from the theory or conceptual framework first to list some kind of, control vocabularies or academic terms first. But for, 100% qualitative research, sometimes you have to use the terms in everyday life, or that's really happen to the context from, from participants they come from. Sometimes I think for me too, I have to train myself a lot, try to not to use in predefined terms, right? Because otherwise if you overlook this way, sometimes they can't find the new one. And you say that because I will say if you sacrifice yourself to do research, qualitative research, sometimes you need to develop a new theory, right? Or a new conceptual framework sometimes. You develop them because you want the others to test your theory in the future, right? So that's why you have to when you say look for new words or new terms or new concepts rather than you test them or you use the previous theory. Me too. I try to train myself not to have a think in advance too much, or frame my idea first, right? Because otherwise we get trapped and you can't find a new concept or new theory. Me too. But as Pupik mentioned, we got the serious problem, especially in the field of human information behaviors, because we develop many theories, many new theories, and many concept frameworks sometimes, but we fail to test that it's true or false, or true or not. Sometimes that's why we I think we use qualitative research method in the field of human and information behavior too much. and I will say, to be honest, 20 or 30 years now, we still use the model from, I will say, Dr. Tom Wilson, right? I say that. Pupik, you know that, and that's so sad to know. Vince as well, right? You know that Tim Wilson still to be claimed in information behaviors again and again, because you rely on the word or the terms that Dr. Tom Wilson used already, and we can't go further or go beyond his theories now. That's why, yeah, just like Ajahn Goff say, well, me too, I learned a lot today. We can start from in vivo coding first and try to contextualize them by use descriptive coding. But what I worry me a lot, me too, and worry myself when I don't know when I should stop to code them. Me too. And we got a limited time to finish our research project or thesis project, right? But we don't know how to stop. Me too. and the next stage is when you do and you write this discussion chapter, and you can't stop reviewing the literature again. Me too. And when we don't know when to stop. This is concern me a lot when I try to use qualitative research methods in my research project. Me too. I confess.
May I add with what Ajahn yeah, basically she's Ajahn. Ni people pick what her concern is that I mean basically I'm the same with her. Yeah, I find it difficult to code, to give a term, especially for a descriptive coding, because I don't know when you work on when even once when you work as an indexer, you already have this innate instinct that you should think of a word that it encompasses general aspect, like yeah, something like that, right? I mean, I don't know if sorry uh uh I don't know if Pukpik already had an experience in assigning subject or indexing, but the challenge is that when you get the experience of it, it's very hard for you to let go of that inner instinct, you know. So that yeah, earlier when what's the right term for, yeah, it's animal domestication, because you know it's you're petting animals, you're yeah, something like that. But I think one thing that I've noticed is that when you do your code book, you're basically doing your personal controlled vocabulary. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes. So I think it's okay for you to use the words being used by the interviewee, but it's also okay for you to consult words from controlled vocabulary, like the LCSH or the Sayers list or the mesh or something, for the sake of consistency. But it's not required, like you know, I don't know if it's of it. Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that usually that we do coding the first round or second round, sometimes we didn't open or check with the series of subject heading or LC subject heading, right?
Yeah, I what I meant is that in the first stage you really need to do the in vivo, because you need to grasp the concept, etc., or something,
and also
and then
the in vivo is not it happen. I mean, you in vivo coding you will mix with descriptive coding. You
yeah,
use together. Should not wait.
exclusive. No,
Yes.
it's not exclusive. Yeah,
No. Yes.
yeah.
So for the descriptive coding, I'm going. It's like Pupik said that the word that you are going to assign to be, I mean, to use as a code should be like academic terms, right? It would be better to get the term from the control vocabularies, handbook or manual or not? Is that right? book big.
Mm.
For me, at the naturally, we will not check the control vocabulary first. I mean, right? I mean, we will from the data, we will assign the term or the words that the researchers used or know, right? But for the next, I mean, second round or third round, you might change the terms or the words for the code later to make it more academic or more expand the coverage of the term, something like that. But I don't, I feel I don't, when I read the journal articles or the research article or research project, they didn't say that they will check with the control vocabulary manuals or handbooks.
No, but I think that's why when you read a very good textbook or very good articles, they will say, oh, book big, you coin a new term, you know, COIN, you coined a new term. It means, it means the term you use came from the data you collect. I think that's why, oh, book big, you coined a new term. I will say, let me give you some example. Empathy in in user experience or research design. I think maybe 10 or 20 years ago, they have known only sympathy, right? You sympathy, you oh, that's poor Somsak, you are pity something. Yes, you sympathize them. But now you coin a new term, empathy. You just think like them. You just put put in their shoes. Sometimes you know, not just sympathize, and you empathy, you understand them, right? You said that I think we try to coin a new term based on based on qualitative research and coding sometimes.
Thank you ค่ะอาจารย์สมศักดิ์
and I think rather than you use subject heading list, you can rely on your code book. I think like Ajahn Goff say, you have to rely on the code book.
I like Win said that a code book is like we set up a list of control vocabulary. Yes, that's good one. Yeah, I like it. Thank you. Can I borrow your term?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because basically that's what also happening when a library is using an in-house thesaurus. So when they are going to do their own thesaurus, they somehow do coding, just like that. When you are
to note,
they are taking notes of the inclusion,
the scope note.
The scope note, the right terms, so basically it's doing a in-house thesaurus, but in this case you're just referring to the texts that you are analyzing.
Yes. And also the code book, if you do the deductive coding, right, a code book will influenced by the theory. So the terms, the words, you can borrow from the theories, from the literature.
Yes. So,
and Ajahn Goff, I think we have I see many research projects now. It's got a trendy now. You know, I will say you recruit other coders to do coding for you, rather than the researcher him or herself. I think let's try to try like I think
but just hire another one to do.
Try to get rid of some kind of bias, or try to keep yourself away from the research project. I think it's fine. Yeah, you just develop a code book and let Vincent and Vince code for me.
As long-
and you just
Yes.
check the similarity, right, and the differences between the codes that Vincent and Vince and Pupik assign to the data. I think this is very good technique.
As long as you have the budget.
No, you just ask your friend to do that thing. Yeah, give me mercy. To do that thing.
Yeah, so basically that's what my mentor is also doing when they do a qualitative research. They hire coders because it's time consuming, you know.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, especially if you have a day job, you know, oh my god, you're going to be dead by the morning if you're going to pull off an all-nighter for coding. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's all. Do you have any more questions, more comments, or share your experience?
Mm.
No? Okay. So tomorrow we'll start at 1. Is that all right, Vincent? You have class in the morning, right? At Vince?
1 p.m. Bangkok time.
Yes. Is that
Oh,
all right?
it's
We can.
so it's still 2 p.m. here. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that okay? I mean, Vince? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
Tomorrow's not holiday anymore, so yeah.
is that good?
We're
or is
good.
that bad?
We're good.
Yeah. Okay, so tomorrow we will start with doing the using software to help us doing the qualitative research. But may I ask for your favor? I don't have budget money at all. Ask you his mercy.
Do it yourself.
Because Vince, you already know about the Max QDA. Could you just let's do a brief introduction about the Max QDA for us?
Tomorrow?
Yes, 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, sorry, not a mercy
Wait.
at all. That's okay. Never mind. That's all right. That's
Wait,
okay.
because I mean I'm familiar with Max QDA, but I'm not that well versed in terms of using its coding you know feature. You know,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. That's okay. Don't worry. So okay. I will just show my my screen. I mean the desk. I installed 2 programs in my laptop already, the NVivo and QDA Minus. But if you guys already install Max QDA, I would like you to try to do and maybe share your screen or something like that when we talking about the Max QDA. Then the
Okay.
other can see what the interface and the function that they have. Okay, so yeah. Vincent, you already install any programs? No.
Yeah, I've already installed the Max QDE.
Have you ever tried อาจารย์สมศักดิ์ post to us what is the name of that program อาจารย์สมศักดิ์
Sorry, can't remember.
call something, right?
Yeah,
Right.
sorry. we can chat back to
Yes.
our line.
And
Sorry.
Pupik, you
Yes, sorry, I have an emergency call. Sorry.
love.
Sorry.
That's okay. Pupik, you which program, which qualitative data analysis software do you use in now?
Right now, all I have ever used
No. Okay.
right now. I think I didn't use anything.
Okay.
I'm
Did you
sorry.
did you install any program?
I and Vivo, but because of the license, so it's a trial version and it's already I cannot access.
Okay. So okay.
I use the one that you sent a while ago. You sent us some kind of a free license for Max QDA.
Yes.
I installed it actually this morning,
Okay.
and I was able to access it.
But for the Mac QDA, I already installed in the other computer.
Okay. Just because I don't install Max QDA in my laptop. So yeah, so I ask you probably just share the screen. Just share the screen, okay?
Okay, ค่ะอาจารย์ I have it.
Okay, thank you very much. Because I will prepare for the in vivo and QDA mining, okay, and to let you see the concept. But please read the interview transcript that I post on Classroom. The interview transcript. Okay, it's about 52 pages, but don't worry, we will focus about maybe 5 pages. Okay, the first 5 pages. Okay, it's too long.
I'm afraid Ajahn Goh said, "Oh, you have to read and reread 52 pages."
No, we don't have time. Yeah, just read only first 5 pages. Okay. Okay.
Lucky
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Ajahn Goh, I will be absent tomorrow. Sorry.
Oh yes, yes.
I have to teach another class.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
After tomorrow, I will assign you an exercise 15 scores. Okay, about coding and a code book. Okay, we will talk about it tomorrow. So see you tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock Bangkok time.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, enjoy. Bye.
Bye ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครั
สวัส
บ
ดีค่ะ
Oh, this is